Whoa, we got some interesting information regarding PS5 and how it's not quite what the we were told. Let's get into it. PS5. Well, we all know it as the little engine that could. Many rumors have been swirling over the past several months regarding RDNA2, RDNA 1.5, something many of you out there thought was a droid from Star Wars 8 months ago. Yes, I've made that joke before. A falling out of friends, a new batch of information, a D-batch on Twitter. Why? Because I liked the way that sounded. Also, you're probably wondering what I'm talking about. Well, PlayStation 5 has a plethora of new information available regarding its die shot, its lack of Zen 2 CPU components, cut down, and more. And this is not a blast video. Trust me, I would do a much better job than I'm going to here if that were the case. This is simply me bringing to light information regarding, well, information, while also pointing out so much misinformation out there about the systems. After all, apparently the guy you're about to hear has been wrong on multiple aspects, or at least there are several different clips out there. Again, not a dumpster drama channel, but we're going to at least point this out as we get into more appealing information. At the end of the day, like I've always said, these two consoles are completely custom. You cannot predict what type of integer scaling or silicon parts could possibly complete the system's architecture because, well, you didn't make it. And that's why you've got to be very careful about how you approach this. Not only do we have some information on that, but we've also got the latest when it comes to Xbox. We're going to talk about that. And of course, how you guys are awesome for hitting the like button, subscribing, and more. For those of you that do, thank you very much. We're almost up to 100,000 subscribers, and you're making it all possible. Seriously, thank you.
I'm not doing this to call anyone out, but I'm not Red Gaming Tech. I didn't do 5 videos about it being 3D stacked with, unified cache. That's not what I said. And the unfortunate thing is I do know of some PlayStation fanboy channels like MBG Gaming or something misquoted the out of me over and over, basically using me as a hammer to hit Xbox fanboys with.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Who the hell is that? And how could his word be a hammer towards anyone? Well, I don't really know. But apparently, this guy has been talking a lot about PS5 and how it does have RDNA2 and some other things. And personally, just keep the bashing to a minimum because I know that you guys are a bunch of piranhas in the comment sections. I know you're frustrated because people like this are the reason you're seeing Sony fanboys talking about RDNA 7.529er. I get it, but I also understand that context is everything. That's why I've got to offer the benefit of the doubt to two of these guys I'm about to talk about, because I myself have been taken out of context quite a bit, though I do tend to take the side more so of Paul because I've had conversations with the guy. He has also, by the way, admitted that he was wrong on some of this. I'll get to that in a second. So yes, I get the frustration, but this is how I started my day. It wasn't Folgers this time, gentlemen. It was drama cheese. And guess what? That cheese was interesting because it led to an interesting conversation with a guy called Red Gaming Tech, or rather a guy called Paul from Red Gaming Tech. And by the way, shout out to MBG there, getting exposed. I laugh there, honestly, but I've got nothing against MBG. I used to take it more seriously, but it's all plastic. And I hear he's a fan of our show, actually, RDX Podcast. So, again, shout out to him. Hope his family's doing great, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, it's why it's important that you know exactly what you're talking about when you're listening to people that know about this stuff, because you can then dissect this information, and hopefully you can cross-reference it with a source or two of your own. And as we've learned from the 13 teraflops fiasco, so on, so forth, or the PlayStation side, the guys just don't seem to have any actual legitimate sources. Long story short, die shots information on PlayStation 5 have basically sent shockwaves through the community because, well, it's not exactly what we were told, or what we were told, as I said at the beginning of the video. But before I show you this information, I've got to say that generally RGT is pretty accurate, especially when it comes to the desktop class stuff. I think he means well, despite some of the things that have happened or have been fed into, and I think he's a good guy. Ultimately, I know for a fact that he has had information taken from him and used by the other guy in the clip earlier, but at the end of the day, that's not really my forte. Man, this is some... Did you see that? This guy is not the father, not once, but twice. Could you imagine the shit? What a day. Anyway, point is, you're not the father. And neither am I. And we could just let these people fight it out. But I did kind of want to talk about this because it does really unravel from the following information. Plus, I get a really cool chance to use some cool music that I think is really, really intense. And I like that. So, this is what we're talking about. And before anybody says anything, just know that the guy that wrote this does know his stuff. I just think that it's not interpreted by the masses, as usual, in the best way that it could be. PS5 SoC die shots reveal RDNA 1.1 GPU and Zen 2 CPU cores with cut down FP units. Now, first off, the Zen 2 cut down is for power consumption reasons. They want to preserve as much wattage for the GPU as possible, basically. The question is, how will this really be affected further on when more games are maxing that core clock in conjunction with the 16 SMT? That's when you start generating more heat, you start using more power on the CPU side, and we all know that means Smart Shift is going to take away some of that wattage from the GPU. That's how it works. I've confirmed this with the Dirt5 technical director thanks to GameOnDaily.com. Check out that link down below. The article says the die shot of Sony's PS5 SoC has finally been analyzed by a third party, realizing some unexpected details. For starters, it looks like the GPU on the actual console itself isn't a full-fledged RDNA2 design. Now again, we've known this forever. We've always said that it is completely custom, and that goes for the Xbox as well, but we've known that it isn't full RDNA2 because not only have AMD confirmed that Microsoft's console is the only one that is in their terms, but we know that it doesn't have BRS that is accelerated by hardware on the chip itself. Instead, developers like 4A Games are enabling their own software derivative of BRS, and they've actually used this on the PS4. Nowhere near as effective as the hardware patented version on Series X, it's still a good performance saving measure overall. Again though, there is a big difference here between the two platforms when it comes to BRS capability and the future of that capability, of that scalability, and how efficient it will be able to become in the future. So this is what it means by it's not full-fledged RDNA2. Understand that it does have the IPC performance of an RDNA2 GPU though, at least when it comes to an APU, meaning clock for clock, it is going to get as many frames and effects as another RDNA2 APU of similar nature. It just lacks some of the big RDNA2 features like the before mentioned BRS that is enabled by hardware. Now let me know if you think that sounds familiar. Yeah, that's because that's what I've been saying forever. And I've been called every name because of that. Like, how many times do you have to be crushed before you just say, maybe I will hang on and just listen to what this guy's saying or try to understand? Well, speaking of understanding, now they're calling it RDNA 1.1 because of this, not that it is literally not RDNA 2. This is where the term RDNA 1.5 comes from, because while it may possess the IPC of RDNA 2, it doesn't have those big features that really unlock that full capability over the coming years. That's why they've kind of come up with the term 1.5. Not that it's literally 1.5, it's just a play on words. Now they do say when it comes to the cut down on the CPU side, it is unclear exactly what's going on here as of right now, but it does appear to have been shaved down with half the register size in the comparison to a standard Zen 2 core. Basically, there's less silicon here. Less silicon means you're going to use less power, and it's going to cost you a little less money. The article does say the lack of infinity cache, which again our buddy in the clip earlier was apparently dead wrong on. They say the lack of this feature on both consoles is no surprise. They say that is because if this feature were included, it would make the consoles ridiculously expensive. To top it off, they do say the arrangement of the dual compute unit, the WGP sub-array, is almost identical to that of RDNA 1. And long story short, hey, Sony did what they could with what they had at the time. Remember, this system was supposed to release in 2019, not 2020. They then found a way to get this thing to run at a much higher clock via liquid metal and a very, very big fan, aka a boat propeller. And you know what? It is what it is. It's proven to be effective at the moment, while Microsoft are getting their tools and subsystems together. When it comes down to it, yeah, this thing is a Frankenstein. All that said, still pretty impressive what PS5 is managing to do while Microsoft gather up their tools and find a way to leverage those BRS titles and, of course, more RDNA2 features more effectively, which is coming. We covered this recently. Here's another shot from a more reputable source talking about how it appears there are parts missing from the Zen 2 CPU components. So again, shout out to the writer of this article, and I'll link this down below for you guys to check out yourselves. Please let me know your thoughts down below. I've had several interesting conversations today, and I wanted to cover this, and I want to have a little bit of fun with it. So, of course, let me know your thoughts. Hopefully you made it this far. A lot of you guys messaged me about this, and you know what? Thank you guys for what you do. Seriously, the support is amazing. If you end up liking the video, or if you ended up liking the video, I was originally going to incorporate many more topics in this, but this just took too long to make. Maybe hit the like button, show a buddy or two. It really helps. And of course, thank you for powering the channel to nearly 100,000 subscribers. And again, seriously, this one's more of a serious video, but honestly, it's good to be a little bit more lighthearted. I've been kind of going that route lately. It's more fun for me, and I think it's probably more enjoyable to watch. This is more of a technical video, and you know what? As much as I want to just start stomping for all the people that have been attacking people like myself and others, the RDX podcast, for calling this stuff, and people like Tim Doug, I'm not going to do it. I'm done with it, right? So it's really stressful keeping up with this information, and especially when you're some of the first in the world talking about it. But at this point, many of you guys know that we know what we're talking about, at least when it comes to what we're told, and to come to understand it and accurately try to predict what's going on. I say we did a pretty good job at this, and hopefully everybody kind of takes away what they will, and the most positive thing they can take away from it is, as I've always said, both of these systems, meaning Series X and PS5, are monsters compared to what we've had before. The most balanced systems of all time. Say it with me, right? Capable of a ton of awesome things. Enjoy gaming, have fun, and please let me know your thoughts down below. Check out the sources down below. Check out GameOnDaily.com. They're not corporate backed, they're not corporate owned, but they will bring you all the greatest stuff all in one place. And again, let me know your thoughts. I'm Dealer. Thank you very much for what you do. I'm out.